So, Brent, thanks very much for taking some time out to speak with me today. I know we've been, as you said earlier, kicking the can down the road slightly on this one. But yeah, it's good to finally get some time to discuss a bit more about Coltech, LTI, our partnership, and how we can best support businesses in their technology, or their specifically around the cybersecurity journey that projects that they're doing. So to start off with, it's probably good to get a bit of an introduction from you about yourself, LTI, and you know, the business and yourself in general.
Sure, I appreciate it, and thanks for making time today as well. So, as far as the introduction, obviously I'm Brent Lane. I'm the president of the company, and we're probably right around 30 strong at this point, with between FTEs and contracted employees and subcontracted employees. So I built this business probably about 2 years ago, and got, a very serious about, blowing it up and expanding past your day-to-day consultant, and really turning it into what I consider as a solution delivery vehicle, right? So the history of my experience of being in the tech field, all the way from starting out in the telecom industry with WorldCom, and then working all the way up to a CISO and CIO for managed service providers. The term consultant kind of gets a bad rap, right? So consultants are really known for coming in and addressing a problem or an opportunity that you already have, and they'll give you a lot more materials and kind of get to that root cause analysis, or the root opportunity, and then they take their check and they walk away. And then our customer would usually bring in, a value-added reseller, a professional services organization, to take what the consultant gave you and turn that into something, or fix the issue. Why do you need two teams to do that? Why don't you have one powerhouse firm that has consultant and executive level experience, and also the staff that's at the architectural and engineering level to come in and see it through fruition? So it's one of my passions about this business, and why I built it in this direction. So when we come in, we'll solve that problem. We'll turn that idea into something real and take it. We can provide the staffing models. We can provide the operational aspects of it, the SOPs, the reporting, the monitoring, and really hand a CIO or even a CEO of the company and say, here's your fully tuned division that we came in to address. And it's been tremendously successful so far.
That's fantastic. I know, said the business has gone from strength to strength in the last couple of years. You've had a huge amount of experience, at that CISO, CIO level, to that you're bringing in to leverage and offer value and return on investment to your clients. But what would you say the real superpower of Brent and LTI is?
It's really the ability to walk into, like I said, one of these problems or opportunities, and dissect it and make it digestible at every level, from the stakeholders in the company that are going to write the checks, and all the way down to the engineers that could be threatened by somebody like a professional services provider coming in and saying, hey, we're gonna take over and build this, or we're gonna come in and fix it, because there's always that defense mechanism. So our approach is always building the relationships at every level and saying, look, I'm going to make your job easier. I'm not here to replace you, or to talk about outsourcing. That's definitely not in our playbook, right? That turns into one hit wonders, and then that it basically negates any capability for us to have repeat business. So coming in, dissecting, having everybody kind of take a pause, pulling all the pieces and puzzles of information together, having a true data flow of how this engagement's going to go, and then documentation is key, right? Making sure that that's always visible, and it's always there, and it's always memorialized. If you look at our website, it's all about data-driven, data flow-driven. I'm going to map out every aspect of every opportunity, and whether it's a 6-hour consultant opportunity or a 6-year consultant opportunity, it's always going to be documented, and understanding the flow of the business, the flow of the customer, and the flow of the opportunity that we're engaged in.
I think, yeah, that's brilliant. And I think one of the things that we've always spoke about is building that trust level with clients and offering value. Like you say, it's not about coming in as maybe the more traditional consultancy, wrapping up what the client's already got and presenting it back to them for it to then be delivered elsewhere. It's about looking at what needs to be done, as you say, dissecting the opportunity, dissecting the problems, and really offering the true solution. And if that is, 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, it's about offering the true solution, and building that trust level. And that's probably where you've been managed to grow so rapidly as a business and offer the best solutions, is by building trust with your partners.
100%. 100%. So when you start out in a business and you're not getting investors and you're coming in and trying to build something organically, all you have is your reputation. So it's the network of which you've built. It's the performance that your partnerships, either employees, business partners, bosses, people that you've met at trade shows who've gotten experience and with yourself and your product. As we both say at Coltech and LTI, it's about the outcomes. It's outcome-based business model. Start with the outcome and back your way into it. And that's been a very successful methodology through everything in my life. You hit the military, my marriage, this business itself. Like, what do you have the outcome to be? Start there and then work your way into it.
Yeah. If you can make a success of a marriage over a long term and keep your wife happy, then that's probably much easier than trying to deliver some of these technology problems, in my experience.
Yeah. Start with next Friday and then back into Monday, and you'll make it.
100%. But you touched on the website and you sort of the new refresh of the company, and we're looking at some of the verticals that we're targeting. There's obviously the commercial side, critical infrastructure, but a big area of focus for LTI and for Coltech as well is around that digital health or the healthcare sector and security in healthcare. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about your strategy around there, where your value proposition is in that space in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in and out of healthcare probably close to 20 years now, and experience with HCA, which is the biggest for-profit healthcare organization in the world, and down to most recently when we had a partnership with General Electric Healthcare, GE Healthcare, to support their modality system, so their CTs. So we bolted on that the software capabilities onto that. And what I've been just seeing and gathering and for years is just the lack of cybersecurity capabilities that hospitals, especially, not the powerhouse Mayo clinics, but the more regional radiology divisions and smaller hospitals just don't have. They don't have the money, usually they don't have the cash flow to support huge cybersecurity staffs. And they really don't need to, right? So this is just a prime target when you're looking at outsourcing security operations and some of the MSSP type capabilities. So we at LTI have actually done 2 ransomware cleanups for healthcare facilities in the last probably less than 12 months. But in both instances, the attacker was able to get control, or basically, for lack of a better term, utilize ransomware at the machine level. So one of the most rated ones where they had control over their CT device, and it was for a radiology organization. So they were done, right? So that was their cash machine. They could no longer bring in revenue, which is crippling. And then 2, you have the aspect of patient care, right? These are people that need this treatment, that need this service, and that could not get it. On the second day when I walked in, it looked like a Hooters restaurant. They were writing stuff on paper tickets and passing it around, and it was almost ludicrous. And it took us 5 days to get the infrastructure back from the multitude of different providers that they had, and give a clean bill of health so that they could go back to normal operations. That the average cost in healthcare of a quote unquote ransomware attack is 10.1 million in loss. So that's not just revenue streams. That's obviously revenue streams, obviously loss of patient trust, and then most of the time they're going to have to pay that ransomware that's very well calculated to see the maximum that you will pay, So that's all cash out of hand, which is just, that's breaking to some of these companies. Where for it's very little money on a monthly basis, you can have experts that do this around the clock, and that's all they do. They eat, breathe, and sleep.
And so it's one of the offerings that you're putting together within the space is obviously there's these health checks, but also subscription based in terms of keeping people on ready to keep the systems healthy, in order to, so that they don't have to have full-time staff, but they've got that backup to enable them to protect their business or their systems from these types of attacks. And I mean, being able to save any company, but especially a healthcare company or any business at all, the potential of saving $10 million is probably quite a big carrot there for them to look at.
It's a lot of money.
Protecting it. And so aside from the sort of the health checks, there's also I suppose there's more strings to the bow as well. Do you want to talk to us about some of the other parts that you're looking to do as well?
So there's so many opportunities to go in and really look at the different aspects of cybersecurity, especially for healthcare. So there's assessments. Like everyone knows what a penetration test is or a vulnerability assessment, but these checks and balances should be done in different ways and at different times throughout the year. So now the social engineering aspect is huge, right? So that's something that can be done, and then really doing a framework assessment. So if you have a cybersecurity and you think that you're very confident in, and you have the right staff, you have the right tools, you have the right technologies, let somebody go in and check it. When I was an engineer, that was always kind of a rub. Say, why are you going to bring in some consultant to tell me what I already do wrong? Well, why do you think accountants have to get audited? There's always a check and balance, and if you got comfort, and if you're a business owner, you should always have a third set of eyes on something. And if you're a confident technician or engineer, you should be able to go in and say, yeah, come on in, tell me, you might find something that I don't see that I can easily fix. So it just makes so much sense to do third party vulnerability tests. Audits.
Audits, vulnerability tests, penetration tests. No,
and then the other piece. The one other piece is obviously you can have all this protection in the world, but as you know, in big companies, sometimes things get through. Sometimes you will get hacked, and do you know what to do when that happens? Right? Yeah. Most people just run around with their hair fired.
It can just come down to human error. Someone clicking on the wrong email that comes in, or doing something that you can't protect against everything, no matter how big how secure you make the systems. There's always that issue. So having a business like LTI to be able to come in and protect you then is obviously a bit of a no-brainer. So in terms of LTI and Coltech, what we're here to speak about today, we've been working together now for close to a year, and the partnership's sort of getting stronger and stronger. What we want to look to try and do is put a joint effort into the market. So if we're looking to speak to organizations, especially within the healthcare sector or any sector, wherever that may be, what is it that this partnership is going to bring? I mean, I've got my opinions, obviously, but I'll ask you, what's this partnership going to bring that's going to add the value that they're going to need?
I think it's a huge differentiator in the market, actually. So, with these two companies combined, you can go and assess anything, you can man anything, and you have the flexibility, right? And what's genius about the Coltech manpower methodology is that it's a try and buy. Maybe you think you like this person, but nobody knows until you have them, and then if it's the right culture fit, if it's the right technical mindset fit. All the while, both companies are going to stay engaged. They're not going to leave. They're going to sit there and work it out. And I think the virtual fractional, I guess that's a Manning definition. It doesn't have to just be at like a CISO level or director level. It can be at any level. If you need somebody, a high-powered security engineer, a high-powered network engineer, but you don't need them on staff full time. That's a beautiful thing. Maybe you need them 8 hours a week. So one, going through the assessments, mapping everything out, data flowing it up, and then seeing how we can optimize your workforce with these two companies combined. It gets out of that traditional mindset from a director level, and to me it's genius. I've always used it, but now I think it's going to become a bigger and bigger play.
Yeah,
for us, especially for the engineering workforce out there and for the management core.
And especially with businesses like you mentioned now, I think the real big differentiator or sort of value add is that more and more businesses now are not looking to add headcount constantly. Because what your team is now and what it needs to be in 6 months or a year's time is going to be completely different. So having that ability to scale up and scale down with project demand. So as you say, you may need someone for 3 weeks to do an assessment, 8 hours to come in and do something, or a few hours a month. Or it's like, well, actually we need this whole project team because we've done the assessment and we need to really implement a new strategy and implement new systems. Well, then we can deliver that whole team as well. And for that period of time, like we touched on earlier, everything that we want to work to is to deliver an outcome based, rather than having people in there doing BAU and ticking over. So it's about getting a crack team together, the high level experience of LTI, and that real niche experience and expertise within the cybersecurity space, with the manpower or the capability of Coltech to help scale that at the pace that's going to be needed, and the flexibility, because a lot more of the traditional consultancies that I know we all know and love don't have that flexibility and agility to bring the right people in, period of time, bring them out, because they've got to move them around projects or whatever else, or they've got to have a certain amount of billing hours, and it's all about profit for that particular business. We're ready to come in and take that, take on projects at pace, scale them, and deliver an outcome that's going to return some IRR for the business, which is the most important thing.
Yep, completely agree. The model just makes sense, and some people are going to go the one way or the other way. Well, no, I'm outsourcing everything to MSP, or I'm bringing in all FTEs. Well, why not do what makes the most sense for that person, that division at that time?
Exactly. There's plenty of ways to skin the cat, but through using this model, you can potentially remove the reliance on these traditional consultancies, keep everything in-house, keep the knowledge there, without having to sacrifice on quality. So look, I think that's a brilliant summary, Brent. I really appreciate going through everything, and having that conversation. And let's look, well, I'm really excited about this partnership, taking it to market, and delivering what we promised to our clients.
100%. Couldn't agree more.